Okay, shout outs for this week goes to Basic Miniature Painting, Fleetwood, Hornby Train Spotting and Farming, Love Minis, Michael Kemp, Mike Davies, Paul 61C70, Peninsula Painting Projects, Rick the Rock Pate, and Trevor Rodway. More on that towards the end of the video.
Mind the gap.
Welcome aboard, commuters, and this is issue 10 of Build the Classic Routemasters. And before I begin, I'd just like to make a little announcement. Obviously, because of the subscription issue that I had, I'm still playing catch up. Now, this video should be coming out on the 6th of April. That will be the second video of 2 videos that are coming out. And by the time you are watching this, issue 11 would have come out, or it will have been due to have been released. And then next week I will be doing, or I'm planning to do, issues 11 and 12, which will be the final double episode. However, what's happened is I've now actually I have my copies reserved from W.H. Smith's, funnily enough. Now they've told me that they will get the part works in, but sometimes there's supply issues. There is a big rigmarole about how it's all done, but they have in the past experienced problems where parts aren't coming in. So I've made an arrangement with W.H. Smith's where I've said, okay, fine, I want you to do my part work every week. It's due out on a Wednesday. If it hasn't arrived by Tuesday, which is the final day of that issue, then what I'd like to do is order the issue from the website. It will cost me for postage, excuse me, but it means that I'll receive my issue approximately 2 weeks late by the time I've got the edition all done, all the videos. In addition, there's a rumour that the subscribers will be at a position where when they receive their packs, they will be 2 weeks ahead of the non-subscribers. So what I've done is I've recommenced my subscription, so I'll be getting an issue every week from the newsagents and the subscription. And what I will do is that whichever copy comes first is the one that I'm going to use. Now, a worst case scenario, what this means is that somewhere along the lines there may be a break of 1, possibly 2 weeks where I haven't got the issue. I certainly hope that doesn't happen, and I'm told that if it does happen, it tends to happen much later on in the series. Now I will complete the series. However, what I've done is, obviously I'm receiving 2 copies, so I will continue to build the Routemaster as I have been doing, but I have an exciting new project for you, which I will be starting in the next few weeks. Okay, so let's have a look at this week's issue. Okay, so this issue, much like issue 8, the previous issue, obviously that was a copy in effect of 2 weeks earlier, and this is much the same. Now, for some reason, I was stoked for this issue because I had problems getting issue 9. I did get issue 9 before I got issue 10, but obviously I was kind of excited. I knew that there was big problems I made in issue 8, mainly not due to not reading the instructions. So I rated this an 8. Because the overall feel was previously 8.89, that's reduced the average to 8.8. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just checking the parts, and then once I get the parts out, we're going to make sure they're all there, check them against the magazine, and then what I'm going to do is, I haven't actually read the instructions, I'm doing this by bit that I know. I'm just going to pop that tyre into soak. You will also see me, for comparison purposes, I will squeeze the tyre just to show you how tough that is when it's cold. Okay, so one of my favourite parts of the magazine, I'm really looking forward to it now. Each week it kind of draws me in more and more, is the posters that they're publishing. This week it's Kenwood House, and yeah, I thought that was quite nice. Okay, and then we also have an article on boats and bridges with a very nice picture of the an RV1. That was quite nice. I do like seeing the bus pictures. There's a few more pictures on the next page. We've got the Tower Bridge, we've got the HMS Belfast, all interesting. And this next section I really enjoyed, Engineering a Career. The man behind the Routemaster, Albert Durant, was steeped in the philosophies of Frank Pick. Really did enjoy this article, and obviously I had 2-3 minutes on the hand while I was waiting for the tyre to warm up. We've got some more pictures and another piece of poster art. I really did enjoy this. These vehicles are carrying 69 people who could all be on this one bus, and being a bus driver, that's a philosophy that I really do subscribe to. Many people do complain about buses on the road, but if there were no buses, think about how many more cars there would be on the road. So actually, in fact, buses save millions and millions because of the renovations that aren't needed. So I only softened the tyre for a couple of minutes. I've decided to be a bit more professional now, and I've used kitchen roll rather than toilet paper. Now, a tip I would give you is put a piece of kitchen roll on the floor, on the surface. Rub the outside, and you'll see that I've wrapped the kitchen roll around my finger, and I've rubbed my finger because you can really get your finger in there. Make sure it's thoroughly dry, because don't forget, once you put the wheel on, you're sealing in anything that's already in there, and then you can see that it's so much more pliable. It really does make the job easier. So once you've completed that, you go on to part 1. So you need the tyre, which obviously is labelled 10A, we've already got, and we need to just pop that onto 10E, which is the wheel hub, wheel rim, sorry. And that goes on relatively easy. It just literally pops on. In actual fact, my first attempt, I've got it round the wrong way. It's much better if you push it in forwards. You see here, it's not quite working, but I'll flip it round and I'll try it again, and it works much easier. I don't know why I turned the tyre as well. So on to section 2, we need to get the suspension arm and brake disc assembly that we've assembled in previous issues. We just need to just pop that on, and then we'll pop in a washer which is labelled 10F, and we just fasten that with an IM screw. Now I did struggle with this. You'll see me take the wheel off again. I think it's the old paint issue again. And I don't think the problem is with what we got with issue 10. I think the problems are with what I got in issue 9. If you remember in the previous video, I did have problems, and I think that obviously they were problems that I weren't going to pick up until this issue. What I eventually figured out was if you screw in the screw and it gets stuck, just loosen it a little bit, then tighten it. Loosen, tighten, loosen, tighten. And eventually it will work in my particular case. So on to section 3, relatively easy. You need the nut guard, which is 10D, and 3 JM screws, and you just fasten them on. Now I did make a bit of I don't know if I made a hash or there was a bit of a problem. Again, these screws struggle to go in. So I did the old loosening and tighten trick. Unfortunately, it did result in me scraping a little bit of the paint away. That's not a major problem for me because I am going to intend to just touch them up with a little bit of red paint. It's not a massive part, so if the colour match is only like 99% spot on, that will be fine. Okay, and for the final stage, stage 4, we'll just finish that off with the hub cover labeled 10B, and then we'll just insert inside the hub cover, we'll just put the logo which is labeled 10C, and that will complete the build for this week. So technically speaking, this is the worst issue that they've actually pushed out. The build time was 15 minutes, which is actually 3 minutes slower than issue 8. Maybe I took my time, maybe, I don't know. But that obviously scored 5, and that brought the average build time down from 8.89 to 8.5. Just like issue 8, there were no issues with the instructions, so that scored 10, taking the mark up on the instructions by 0.07% to 9.40. 7 parts, just like issue 8 obviously, and that reduces the part score by 0.14%, but there were 2 problems. So whereas it gained a mark on the build time, it lost 2 on the problems. Now there was an area where there was no paint on, I mean it was on the inside of the wheel, but nevertheless it was a problem, and there were some issues with some of the screws. Perhaps a little bit unfair to mark it down on this issue because the parts problems were probably due to part 9, but nevertheless I've scored it 8, which has reduced the average problems by 9 to 8.9. Now the overall mark for this week I've given 76%, and it does just scrape in what I would consider a satisfactory issue. As I say, it is the worst issue to date, and that takes the average score for the whole build from 89.11 to 87.80%. Still happy with the build so far, but obviously if they chuck in a lot of wheels early on, it is going to reduce the score. So I'm hoping that they have lots of interesting parts coming up. Okay, so looking at next week's issue, it looks like we'll definitely be building on from what we've been doing for the last 6 weeks. So that makes me happy. So I'll see you guys next week.
Okay, so on to the shout outs from video 7, and this is something that I did enjoy doing, and by the looks of things you've enjoyed it too. So we start with Mike Davies, who writes, "Thanks for the shout out, Penny, looking through all your videos or vids." Rick the Rock Pate says, "Can I get a shout out?" No, you can't. Paul61C70 writes, "Another great video, thank you." And I thank you. It's comments like that that help keep me going. It's nice to know what you think. I mean, I love to share my work. And equally, if you've got any comments on how I can improve my videos, they're equally welcome. So Love Minis writes, "I think it's great that you're doing videos on building the bus. Keep it up." Thank you. Bus building is a little bit of a small market. I've found that bus enthusiasts tend to be very enthusiastic about what they do, but there aren't that many of them, so it's nice. You know, I mean, I'm enjoying this, I'm learning from it. And then lastly, Peninsula Painting Projects writes, "Thanks for shout out, keep up the good work." Again, thank you. Okay, so on to the shout outs for video 8, and Trevor Rodway writes, wheel nut guards would have looked good chromed. I'd actually be inclined to agree with you. However, this particular build, I've decided to do it out of the box because nothing is final. Everything so far has been screwed in, so equally everything can be unscrewed and altered. And I'm going to give away a little bit of a secret here. I am actually planning another project where things will get done differently. So your comment has been noted and I will consider that. Hornby Train Spotting and Farming writes, thanks for the shout out. Michael Kemp writes, warm soapy water, good for the wheels. Yeah, I did realise that. If I read instructions, then obviously I would have realised that straight away. Fleetwood writes, good videos, look forward to the next, keep up the good work. Well, it looks like I'm enjoying making them as much as you're enjoying watching them. Now obviously this is a double episode this week, as will next week be. I hope at the time of recording this I've not actually received issue 12 because issue 11 has just come out, and provided issue 12 comes out on time, then I will have the 2 episodes for you. But then from issue 13 onwards, it's just going to be the 1 episode a week. And to be honest with you, I've kind of enjoyed putting the 2 out a week. So we'll see what happens. Love Minis writes, reading instructions is an important time saver and can prevent broken parts. Absolutely spot on there. Maybe I rushed into this particular edition too quickly. I didn't read the instructions as well as I could. You'll find that next week when I do issue 11, you'll clearly see that I've read the instructions a little bit more closely, and I did find the build much easier and the number of problems went down. These builds are all about learning. I've learned how to build this a little bit more efficiently, and things like reading does help, so there is a lesson learnt there. And then lastly, Basic Miniature Painting writes, looking good my friend. Well, thank you, I hope you enjoyed it. So that brings us to the end of this video, and I will hope that you will watch next week. Take care.